Steeves, Managing Editor at TMC. I'm here at ITEXPO Las Vegas 2013. Joining me right now is Mark Monday. He's the VP and GM, Collaboration Platforms BU at Avaya.
That's
Mark,
right.
welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rich. Good to be here.
So UC is a topic that we cover a lot on TMC.
Thank you very much for doing that.
Absolutely. And sometimes we use terms within the UC topic, like cloud and virtualization. Sometimes we're a little fuzzy on those. Everyone's got a slightly different take on what those mean. So let's clear that up a little bit.
Great.
Let's start with cloud. What does cloud mean, and especially in relation to UC?
Okay. So I think that cloud is a way that customers can take advantage of a service, right? And typically, in the past, most everything was on-premise in some way. On-premise meaning at the facility where the customer operates. But more and more, bandwidth has enabled the cloud or an external kind of environment to offer a service. And so when we're talking about UC, we're now talking about being able to move that function off-premise and move it into an environment that's hosted somewhere else. The neat thing about that is once you do that, you can decide whether you want that to be an OpEx model or a CapEx model, because you can still have it as an off-premise private cloud service that's benefiting your total infrastructure, and it's still a CapEx model. But the real advantage for many customers is to move it into a cloud environment where it's an OpEx model and they're paying for the usage model or a utility model, so to speak, and not necessarily upfront cost of a CapEx kind of thing.
Right. So that clears that up a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
And let's talk about another sort of buzz term that gets thrown around, virtualization. That's something we hear a lot. What do we mean
and
there?
these two terms tend to get mixed together in a lot of ways, and they are complementary, but they're not necessarily, they don't necessarily have to be complementary in that sense. So virtualization is a way of taking what was traditionally an application that absorbed a whole server and ran in the whole environment of that server, taking up all the memory and all the CPU processing, and taking that application and moving it into an environment that's provided by several virtualization vendors, VMware, Microsoft, and others, that can control many applications sharing the same resources. So there is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of customers who have virtualized their data center, and what they've done is they brought in these services from VMware or Microsoft, and they're running all of these applications in a virtual way. What's unique now is that in the past, real-time communications didn't work well in a virtualized environment. And in the past, that's only a couple of years ago, because the hypervisors just didn't know how to manage that real-time flow of traffic. And it became critical that if you're going to move applications like unified communications and telephony into a virtualized way, that you can't have delay, you can't have an interruption in the flow of the traffic, or people are unsatisfied. So that changed drastically over the last couple of years, and vendors like ourselves, Avaya, have completely virtualized our offers. And so now a customer doesn't have to buy a dedicated server. They can take the software application, insert it into their data center, their virtualized data center, and it absorbs or uses the resources it needs, and it can share that with other applications. Another huge advantage is that because it's in a virtualized methodology, if you will, that application can actually be moved around and moved to a different piece of hardware by the controlling environment like VMware. And what's really cool is that you can move that application and never drop a call. So you can move it to the cloud, and all the calls stay up. They didn't have to do anything about physically relocating hardware, and the cost savings are clearly there over time because you're not investing in repeated hardware all the time, and the efficiencies of moving that around. So that's how it ties into cloud, because now you can move that virtualization software, that app, UC app, into the cloud, and it can be, again, a private cloud, or it could be a managed cloud that somebody's managing for you, and it can turn into, again, CapEx or OpEx. But they're similar, it's just how is the application being run. And I can't imagine a reason why a customer wouldn't want to move to virtualization, because I can understand why some people want cloud versus premise, but virtualization has all the benefits and none of the downside.
Well, thank you very much for clearing up those related terms and talking
Thank
about
you,
how
Rich.
they relate.
Yeah.
If we want to know more about Avaya and your solutions and your offerings, where do we go?
Well, we have a fantastic website, of course, avaya.com, and we have hundreds and hundreds of field resources available to all of our customers that, and our partners that need more information. They can go right to the field resource.
Great. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.